Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is my third attempt because I got a phone call and then I just forgot everything I was saying, so I had to start over. Anyway, hello. So today I want to show you all the classics I want to read in 2020. This video was inspired by Spinster's Library. I will link her video down below for you to watch it as well, because we pick different books, so it's always interesting to see what other people are reading. At least I think it is. And let's just get started because it's getting late and the quality is not the best anymore. But I was 45 minutes on the phone with my operator, so that's always nice. First, I think it is important to talk about the definition of a classic, and people have a lot of different ideas. This is actually something that I hate about BookTube, is that we have a lot of really popular, big, booktubers with a lot of subscribers just trash talking classics and saying, oh, look at me, I'm reading a classic, and making fun of others, and just basically stereotyping classics and saying that classics are for old people, or they are really old, they're really dense and complicated, that they always have the same plot, and this is just a stereotype and I really don't like it. Maybe I'm a little biased, but because I study literature for so long, but I just really don't think it is nice for people to talk like that, because it might offend someone who only reads classics. I mean, if someone says something about YA, everyone is just, oh no, you can't trash talk YA because people are free to read whatever they want. But whenever someone talks about classics, it's like they want to say the person who reads classics is a snob, and I don't know why that's the rule, but that's what happens. I mean, that's what happens. I see a lot of people doing that, and it's really uncomfortable and awkward, and I just don't think people should do it, because if we are free to read whatever we want, we shouldn't trash talk something that we don't like. I mean, you don't like it, just don't read it. So obviously classics, or literary fiction, because a lot of people also, instead of calling them classics, because classics, I'm not talking about the Greeks and Romans, but literary fiction mostly. A lot of people sometimes have a sort of a date or a year, and they say that every book written till that year is a classic. I don't think there's a formula to decide if a book is a classic or not. I will say that sometimes classics are a bit complicated to read because they were written a long time ago. The language is different, and if you're not used to it, sometimes it is hard to start and continue without getting frustrated. If I read contemporary novels for a long time, then when I pick up a classic, it takes me a while to get in the rhythm of things, and that's normal because the language is different. It's just a completely different context, but that's what's so beautiful about it. So there is a lot of historical context. I always learn a lot when I read classics, and there's a lot of social commentary, still very important, influential nowadays, so that's a plus. The plots, are the plots similar? They might be within the same literary movement, they might be a bit similar, but literary fiction is usually character driven rather than plot driven. So the fact that the plot is a little bit similar to some other book you read, I mean, that happens nowadays anyway, but what's really beautiful about it is how each author, express themselves, and how their voice just changed the entire tone of the narrative. And I think that people sometimes forget about that. It might be a little bit dense at times, but I'm not saying, obviously, I don't want to say that, oh, every classic is just amazing, I love all of them. I don't. I hated The Catcher in the Rye. I completely hated the book, and I'm not saying that it's not an accomplished novel on its own. A lot of people seem to love it. It just wasn't for me. So you're not forced to love every classic just because they're classics, but they are classics because they stood to the test of time, and we still refer to them a lot. And I mean, that's why we have authors. That's why we have new authors. They inspired a lot of people. So I don't know. It just seems like I'm saying that every classic is amazing, but that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that give it a chance, or if you don't like it, just don't read it, and don't try to embarrass someone because they only read classics or because they read mostly classics. Just not okay. Can you see Alfredo? He's right there. What are you doing? O que você está fazendo? So yeah, enough with that. So let me just show you all the classics that I want to read in 2020. Obviously, I say that I'm going to read all of them, but I don't know. My physical TBR is a mess right now. I just have a lot of books there, and I want to reduce it because having an e-reader, if you don't know, I have an e-reader, but having an e-reader means that I can read books and spend less money on books before I buy a physical copy. So now I only buy physical copies of books that I actually want to keep, and that's just really, really nice, and it's just a feeling of being in control. But in order for me to be in control, I also have to reduce my physical TBR, and the pile is just getting out of hand. So I'm going to show you some of the books that I have in there that I'm planning on reading this year, and let's see if I can. So the first book that I have is Little Women. So I thought about this book because the movie is out. But I actually read this book a long time ago, but I was really young, and some of the details got a little fuzzy. I'm not sure if I'm getting some passages confused, and so I would like to read this book before watching the film, if possible. But that's mainly it. So this is about the Marsh sisters. There are 4 of them. Meg, let me see if I remember. Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. Yes. During the Civil War. And this is just a very powerful narrative. Powerful and feminist, the good type of feminism, and I just really think that a lot of people should read it. It's a beautiful example to young ladies everywhere. The other book that I want to read, this is one of my favorite English authors. That's David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. So I actually read some of it a couple of years ago. I had a lot of work. I was studying at university at the time, and I had a lot of work. Obviously, studying literature means that you have to read a lot of books at the same time. And I decided to pick up this massive thing. The font here is just like really, really small. And obviously, I just couldn't finish it. So I decided, you know what, I'll read it one day, and I'm actually going to enjoy it then. And I think this year is the year. So yeah, excited about this. Then I have The Years and Between the Acts by Virginia Woolf. So I bought this book because of Between the Acts. I had to write an essay on it, but I didn't read The Years. So I just figure I would read it now. And maybe, who knows, if I'm in the mood, I might even reread Between the Acts. I don't know a lot about this book. I've read Virginia Woolf before, and I love Virginia Woolf, but I usually like to just start a book by Virginia Woolf without even knowing anything about the plot. It's just a surprise, but it's something that I really like doing. I have Charlotte Bronte's Villette or Villette, I'm not sure, but I should probably have checked it out before filming this video. This is the book that I don't know anything about this book, actually. I bought it because I had a coupon, and these are really cheap editions. They go for like €3.75 in Portugal. And I had the coupon, so I decided to buy this. Charlotte Bronte is actually my least favorite Bronte. In my opinion, Emily and Anne are on a league of their own, and they're just ahead of their time. Obviously, I'm not saying that Charlotte Bronte is horrible. She's an amazing writer. Her novels are still important and influential nowadays. Her voice was so powerful and still so alive today. But I just never really connected with her writing and her style. And that's why she's my least favorite Bronte. But obviously, she's amazing. And I'm not saying she's not. I'm just saying that I connect a lot more with Emily or Anne. Just their voices are just really compelling, and they just, they got me. So, but still, I want to read this and, read all of her other novels one day. Then we have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I actually know a little bit about this book. This is about two sisters, Eleanor and Marianne, and their everyday struggles during a time that is not very kind to women. I know a little bit about this book because a couple of years ago the film was on TV, and I watched like 20 minutes of it before realizing that it was Sense and Sensibility. So I didn't want to watch the rest because I didn't want to, get spoiled before reading the book. But yeah, this is a fairly short novel, and this is just, I don't know if I mentioned it just a second ago, but this would be my third Austen. And I just love Austen's social commentary. I just really love the way she exposes situations and circumstances, and I always learn a lot from her novels. So next, we actually have two novels by Russian authors. So I have a couple of books by Russian authors, but they're really intimidating for some reason. I'm not, sorry, getting another call, but now I'm finishing the video. So I'm not really sure why they're intimidating. They're just intimidating. So one of the books that I want to read is Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. I know that this book was not finished, I think. I don't know if he finished or not. I don't know if he died before this was finished, because I read something about it and that's why I bought it, but it was a long time ago, like 2 years ago. I just really want to read it. I follow someone on Bookstagram and they just love this book, so you know what, I'm gonna give it a go, and I'm just really intrigued. Dead Souls. Let's see what all the fuss is about. And then I have the big one. So this is the one that I'm excited, but at the same time, I have to be cautious. I need to design a plan. I need to decide what I'm going to read and when I'm going to read it and how many chapters a day or how many pages a day, because this is thick. So I want to finish it first and then start this. I don't want to have two massive books on the go at the same time. And that's, can't believe I'm doing this, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. Russian literature and Russian culture and Russian history in general, just, I don't know why, but I just really want to know more. It's just something that I love. It's just like this guilty pleasure, I just want to know more and more. And sometimes I'm awake at night just on my phone reading about some Russian historical character or something and trying to understand more about the culture and the society and the history in general. Just, I think it's so interesting. I just have this unexplained obsession with Russian culture and Russian history. So War and Peace, I know that this is going to be a struggle sometimes, because I've heard that it is really dense and sometimes can be really complicated and you just have to power through it. But I am really motivated to learn more. I want to learn more. I've read Leo Tolstoy before, and his writing is really beautiful, but at times can be really complex because of the way he structures his sentences. But I'm excited about this. But like I said, I'm gonna have to design a plan, like how many chapters I'm reading a day or something. Otherwise, I'll probably lose count and just neglect the book altogether. That's what happened with it, and I need to fix that. So those are all the classics that I want to read in 2020. Let me see if I can get them all together. They're out of order now. So yeah, these are all the classics. Let's see if I can do this or not. So that's it for today. I'm going to link the original video down below by Spinster's Library. I'll also link my Goodreads account if I can get it done like before uploading this video, and I'll link my Bookstagram as well because I'm very active there, and if you want you can just follow. And right now I'm actually reading A Gentleman in Moscow, so that's historical fiction and it's Russian, so I'm actually learning a lot. I just read a beautiful passage about duels and why people used to get themselves into duels and how that just got out of hand. in Russian society. So it was really interesting. But yeah, that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry about the quality, but what can you do? And I'll see you on my next one. Bye.